Hi students, this is part 2 of Medical Nursing Question Paper Review 2019 October. In part 1 we discussed about long essay and short essays, and this part 2 will cover the short notes. So the short notes questions, there are 5 questions and each carries 5 marks. So metabolic acidosis, medical management of patient with bronchial asthma, cardiac catheterization, meningitis, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. We will see one by one. Metabolic acidosis, actually for 5 marks you have to write, if they ask a question like this, you have to cover the entire topic including nursing management. So what is the definition? Metabolic acidosis is a condition that occurs when the body produces excessive quantities of acid or when the kidneys are not removing enough acid from the body. So the acid content in our body increases, so our pH decreases less than 7.5. The main causes of metabolic acidosis are lactic acidosis, renal tubular acidosis, ketoacidosis and diarrhea. So all these main disease conditions will leads to metabolic acidosis, where the pH of our blood drops less than 7.5. So if you see in this picture, they have given the possible causes as ketoacidosis, shock, severe diarrhea, impaired kidney function. So what are all the signs and symptoms? Patient will show signs and symptoms in different systems. Central nervous system, patient will have headache, sleepiness, confusion, loss of consciousness and coma. Respiratory, if you see, the patient will have severe shortness of breathing and coughing. Cardiac wise, patient will have increased heart rate and sometimes arrhythmia. Gastrointestinally, patient will have nausea and vomiting. Muscular, patient may show signs of weakness and seizure sometimes. And what are all the diagnostic tests we do to confirm metabolic acidosis? The best and foremost important test is ABG, that is atrial blood gas analysis. When you see the ABG, the pH will be less than 7.35 to confirm the metabolic acidosis, and the bicarbonate will be decreased 22 milliequivalent per liter. So this is the two things which you should look for. In ABG, the patient's pH will be less than 7.5, that is more less than 7.35, and bicarbonate will be less than 22 milliequivalent per liter, and urine pH will be below 4.5 if the patient doesn't have any renal disease. Potassium also increase like 5.5 milliequivalent, and glucose level may increase in patient with diabetics like 150 milligram per deciliter, that is more than 150 in case of diabetic patients. So what is the compensatory mechanism our body does when the metabolic acidosis happens is, the body itself will try to correct it, that is called compensatory mechanism, by bicarbonate buffering system, intracellular buffering by absorption of hydrogen ions, so that it will increase our decrease the acidosis by absorption of the hydrogen ion. Respiratory compensation by increasing the carbon dioxide output, and renal compensation. So all these things will happen normally in our body as a compensatory mechanism. When these fails, the patient will show signs of metabolic acidosis. What is the treatment here? That's a correction of sodium bicarbonate. We give it through intravenous. So correction of electrolyte imbalance if the patient has any imbalance, and correction of sodium bicarbonate by soda bicarb, administering soda bicarb. What is the nursing interventions? We keep sodium bicarbonate ampoules handy for emergency administration, monitor vitals, laboratory results and level of consciousness frequently, watch out for signs of decreasing level of consciousness and seizures, record intake output. Management of vomiting should be done by positioning the patient properly so that aspiration can be avoided. Prepare for possible seizures and administer appropriate precautions. So you expect seizures in these patients, so you have to take steps to control the precautions or risk of fall in patients with seizures. Provide oral hygiene in case of vomiting, and use sodium bicarbonate wash to neutralize the patient's mouth by rinsing with soda bicarb gargling. The next question is medical management of patient with bronchial asthma. Here they have asked only medical management, but anyway we have to start with what is bronchial asthma. Asthma is a chronic inflammatory disease of the airways that causes airway hyperresponsiveness, mucosal edema and mucus production. And the causes of bronchial asthma is allergy, chronic exposure to airway irritants, exercise, stress-induced bronchial asthma, and medications. So what is the medical management? Mostly medical management focus on the pharmacological management. If you have studied drugs used in bronchial asthma in the pharmacological management, it is of more helpful in this medical paper. Immediate management includes alert the physician, observe the patient closely for respiratory arrest, monitor his respiratory rate continuously, and never leave the patient alone. Make sure the patient receives oxygen and bronchodilator nebulizer therapies. Should have an emergency equipment on the bedside for any case if the patient goes into respiratory arrest, he may need intubation. Obtain a request for ABG. So patient needs an immediate blood gas analysis. Administer corticosteroids, epinephrine or other drugs as advised by the doctor. Prepare the patient to transfer to intensive care if needed. So this is the immediate management, that is in the triage area what the nurses will do. The next is pharmacological management. The medical management actually focus on this. There are different types of drugs used in the management of bronchial asthma. Short-acting beta-2 adrenergic agonist. These medications relieve the acute symptoms by preventing the excessive induced asthma. So examples are Ventolin and albuterol. Anticholinergics. This inhibits muscarinic cholinergic receptors, thereby decreasing the vagal tone of the airway. So this also causes bronchial dilation, so that increases the oxygen transfer. So examples are ipratropium or Atrovent, Spiriva. The next is corticosteroids. You all know that corticosteroids plays a very vital role here in preventing the respiratory arrest. So it decreases all the symptoms what the patient is having very quickly. So example is prednisolone. Mast cell stabilizer is cromolyn sodium, and leukotriene modifiers. Actually leukotriene modifiers are very good for bronchial asthma patient, but this has to be taken regularly to show its efficiency. So it's a potent bronchoconstrictor. Leukotrienes are potent bronchoconstrictors. So this medicine will act on this leukotrienes to dilate the blood vessels and alter the permeability. So montelukast and Singulair is a regularly prescribed drug for the bronchial asthma patients. Immunomodulators. So this is a newer drug therapy where the IgE is prevented from binding its showing its effect in the patient. So the example is omalizumab. These all are like antibodies, modified antibodies which are used in the pharmacological therapy. So these drugs will prevent IgE binding to the mast cells, that is macrophages, so that the effect of the infection or inflammatory reaction decreases. The next question is cardiac catheterization. I have given a detailed video on this, on cardiac catheterization. You should cover it for 5 marks. You have to write this question, the answer for this question for 5 marks. So make sure that you cover the entire topic and give it in a nutshell information for 5 marks. So you can go to this site if you want to watch the video. The next one is meningitis. So what is meningitis? It is a clinical syndrome characterized by inflammation of the meninges. So what are meninges? These are all the membrane which cover the brain and the spinal cord. There are 3 layers: dura, arachnoid and subarachnoid space. And these 3, if they get inflamed, we call it as meningitis. What are all the causes? The meningitis can come because of bacterial infections, viral infection, fungal infection, parasitic infection, and sometimes due to drugs. The bacterial infection is caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae, and virus is caused by enterovirus, fungi, Cryptococcus neoformans, and there is a parasite called rat lungworm which also can cause meningitis. The drugs like NSAIDs, metronidazole, and IV immunoglobulins may induce the meningitis. The clinical manifestation of meningitis includes fever, seizures. Seizures is noticed in 30% of adult and children and 40% in newborns. So neck stiffness is a specific identification of meningitis, and there are two other signs. These three, like Kernig sign, Brudzinski sign, and neck stiffness, makes a triad for this meningitis to confirm the meningitis. So what is Kernig sign? When the patient is lying with the thigh flexed on the abdomen, the leg cannot be completely extended. So the patient cannot extend the leg completely when the patient is lying with the thigh flexed on the abdomen. So this is positive Kernig sign. The next is Brudzinski sign. When the patient neck is flexed, the flexion of the knees and hips is produced. So when a patient flexes his neck, automatically the knees and hips, or flexion of this knees and hips also happens, which is called positive Brudzinski sign, which is also confirms the meningitis. There are other neurological symptoms also happens, and photophobia is seen in the patient. So whenever they ask meningitis, they will look for this neck stiffness, Kernig and Brudzinski sign. Diagnostic studies, LP, that is lumbar puncture, plays a very vital role. They will take the cerebrospinal fluid and they will send it for analysis to confirm the existence of microbes. CT scan can be done to identify is there any other problem with the brain to find out or rule out the meningitis. A complete blood count with differential shows the infections, and chest radiography if the patient has pneumococcal meningitis, and culture and bacterial antigen testing should be done appropriately. Serum procalcitonin shows the inflammatory reaction in the body. The management, mostly the patient, you should be careful. The patient may have seizures, so seizure precautions should be made, and intravenous therapy and oxygen administration should be started immediately. Antibacterial therapy according to the microorganism which is identified either in the CSF fluid or in the blood culture. Sulfonamides, tetracycline, fluoroquinolones are mostly used antibodies. Antibiotics in meningitis. Antivirals if the patient has a viral meningitis, and loop diuretics and anticonvulsants are given as a supportive therapy. If you see the nursing management, the nurses should monitor the neurological status, pulse oximetry and ABG analysis, and basic vitals. The diagnosis includes acute pain related to headache, fever or neck pain, impaired physical mobility, activity intolerance. The interventions are, as we said, assess the neurological and vital status, determine oxygenation from ABG analysis, assess blood pressure, rapid IV fluid administration. If the patient has a fever, the nursing measures should be done to reduce the temperature, protect the patient from injury, especially during the seizure activity, monitor daily weight, serum electrolytes, intake output, and prevent complication associated with immobility. So patient will be kept on the bed rest, so you have to check for pressure sores or aspiration pneumonia. The next question is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, that is AIDS. So what is AIDS? Is a serious secondary immunodeficiency disorder caused by retrovirus, that is HIV. Both diseases are characterized by progressive destruction of cell mediated, that is T cell immunity is progressively destructed because of this HIV, and subsequently the effect on humoral immunity also happens. The stages of HIV are primary infection, that is acute or recent HIV infection, HIV asymptomatic, that is category A, and HIV asymptomatic, that is category B, and AIDS. So the signs and symptoms, if we see, it is according to the stages of the patient or stages of the HIV infections. In stage 1, patient will have headache, fatigue, aching muscles, sore throat, swollen lymph nodes, red rash or itching on the site, and fever, ulcers. That is, in the oral ulcers happens in the genitals and also in the anal canal. So this is the stage 1 signs and symptoms patient will be. Stage 2, the patient is asymptomatic. That's why in the stage we can see HIV asymptomatic. The patient will be asymptomatic, but the disease progress happens inside the patient. HIV symptomatic, here in the category B, the patient will show severe flu-like symptoms, and the other stage 1 signs and symptoms becomes worsens. And in the stage 4, the patient's CD4 cell count decreases and patient will become severely infectious state, where the patient will start getting opportunistic infections. So if you see the mode of transmission, sharing of infected drug use equipment such as needles, having sexual relationship with infected individuals, whether male or female, blood transmission, receiving HIV infected blood or blood products, and maternal HIV, which is transferred from the mother to the baby. What are all the complications? Opportunistic infections, respiratory failure, cachexia and wasting. This means the patient will become very thin, that is bone and skin. These are all the complications. So opportunistic infection, there are normal flora present in our body will start to cause diseases because of very decreased immune response. So you can see in the stage 3, the patient will become tired all the time, fever, night sweats, weight loss, shortness of breath. They cannot do even a very small activities, and sometimes neurological symptoms like memory loss, confusion, balance, behavior changes. So everything becomes very severe. And what are the diagnostic studies done? CBC, PPD, serological ELISA, Western blot test, viral load test, that is RT-PCR. These are all the common tests done for the patient to identify the HIV. So the mostly used test includes ELISA, Western blot and RT-PCR, just to confirm the viral load of the patient. And the imaging studies is done to identify is there any other complications with the patient. That is PFT, chest X-ray, bronchoscopy, endoscopy is done to rule out any other existing problems because of the HIV. The medical management includes like treatment of opportunistic infection. You have to treat what is the current problem in the patient. So when the patient comes to the hospital with the problem, you should identify. Mostly the patient comes with pneumonia or any other opportunistic infection. So you have to treat the opportunistic infection. Prevention of opportunistic infection. We have to prevent the patient from recurring opportunistic infection. Antidiarrheal therapy, antidepressant therapy and nutrition therapy. And the patient should be on retroviral drug and to decrease the signs and symptoms and decrease the HIV symptoms. During nursing diagnosis includes imbalanced nutritional status, fatigue, chronic pain, impaired skin integrity, impaired oral mucous membrane, disturbed thought process, anxiety, social isolation, powerlessness, deficient knowledge, and risk of injury, deficient fluid volume, and risk of infection. So there are a lot of nursing diagnosis can be written in this patient as the patient has a lot of problems. We have completing part 2 here, and I will see you with part 3. Thank you.